This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. I was lucky enough for IK Multimedia to have asked me to do some demos for the TONEX pedal, as it's called, and I did a couple of demos earlier in the week, one just on the pedal on launch day and then one kind of integrating it with the pedal board. Those were both sponsored, this one's not. However, I just wanted to do like a video asking kind of what's so great about the TONEX. Is it this game-changing thing, or can we put it in a sort of line with some other pieces of gear that do similar sorts of things? And I wanted to share with you what I think is most exciting about it and what I think is coolest about it. So like I said in the first video, I think what's really cool about this is to be able to integrate this kind of profiling, modeling thing, not just in hardware, but within a plugin, you know, within your computer. This is the first time that creating models that can be run on hardware doesn't require you to have a Kemper or a Quad Cortex, and doesn't require a sort of £1,600 sort of price tag. So I think that's a cool thing. Also, what's nice about this is that in your VST you can integrate these kind of models now. I've long thought that Kemper should have maybe tried to tackle this, and maybe Neural DSP as well, although they've got their own kind of issues. Being able to run these captures, these profiles that everyone pretty much agrees are really decent, and loads of people really love that kind of workflow, being able to run it in a digital audio workstation, I think that is pretty much been the crucial next step that was needed, and it's just refreshing to see this done. I don't necessarily think it's a huge game changer or huge step forward, more than it is kind of sort of ticking off a box that probably should have been checked off quite a while ago, in terms of an innovation that I think a lot of users have been waiting for a while. It sort of reminds me of the Strymon Big Sky thing, right, where people have been using a Strymon Big Sky piece of hardware in their studios for ages and ages, and it requires potentially reamping, and it could take a lot of time. Finally, this year they brought it out in plugin form, and I think, you know, that's definitely a thing that loads of people thought, well, that integrates now perfectly into my workflow. In a similar way, actually, Amplitude have got there ahead of this. It's just, I think, in some ways that Amplitude are a little bit of a, I don't know, they don't have the same sort of reputation as Strymon, I'd suggest. But for instance, if you were to open up Amplitude 5, you'd see that you've got these pedals that are available in the real world, like the TONEX is there, and X time, the X space, and the X drive. And so being able to jump between this kind of digital workstation based stuff, you can literally just load the hardware within Amplitude. And I think that's a really important kind of step, seeing people being able to do both the software and the hardware and integrate them properly. Obviously Line 6 have done this for quite a while now with Helix Native, and I do think that doesn't get talked about quite enough. I think that was a really, really, really important step within tech space. Beyond this kind of thing though, does it sound way better than anything else? The thing with profiling, capturing, all of that stuff, whether it's Kemper, Quad Cortex or TONEX, is that to me, yes, it seems like the Quad Cortex may be slightly more accurate than the Kemper, and yes, it seems that the TONEX might even be a slight improvement upon the Quad Cortex. Probably they're all within a sort of ballpark of being able to produce really pretty accurate tones based on this profiling approach. But there comes with it this kind of so what aspect. So I think for me, I still have to be able to dial in an amp if I want to create usable stuff on this. And I saw sort of on a forum, someone had said that the stock presets on TONEX they didn't really love. And for me, the thing with the Kemper or the TONEX is that just captures that someone decided on, you know, or profiles or tone models in this case, someone decided, well, I like the way that this JCM 800 sounds right now, let's capture that. That to me is kind of the limitation in some ways of this capturing profiling thing. If you're got this rig that you're set on and this is your tone, then it's a really great way to build that tone and quickly get there, versus, you know, trying to piece it together from other bits of modeling, you know. So the difference between creating your tone with a Quad Cortex, Kemper or TONEX is kind of the different paradigm to the normal modeling route, right? So you know, say building a capture on a Kemper or profile on a Quad Cortex or a tone model on a TONEX, got those all mixed up. If you already know how to dial in your amp, you've already got your tone, it's I think quite a lot quicker route to getting to that result than learning how to use something like a Helix or Fractal or, you know, this more modeling approach. So I can see that for folks that have their tone ready to go and they have to, for whatever reason, get into this kind of digital direct realm, and I can see exactly why Kemper, Quad Cortex, TONEX could be beneficial. For folks that are more used to the more modeling side of stuff, yes, you're relying on essentially someone else in the community, whether they are on any of those units, being able to capture the sounds that you like if you're not creating your own capture. So TONEX, I guess, is going to be reliant on users and also the creators to create a burgeoning ecosystem. Although I think one route which I'm really excited about, this kind of relationship with Joe Bonamassa seems to be a thing which could lead to really exciting gear being profiled or tone modeled, and I'm quite excited by that concept. I'd also like to see something like the TONEX with the ability to run normal amp models that you could tweak yourself, you know. So for instance, the Amplitude library has things like Trainwreck amps, a really nice collection of Fenders and stuff. I'd like to see that come across. Ultimately, I think it's a good solution for folks that were looking for something for their pedal board in place of something like the Iridium or the Walrus Audio, or looking for something like the Kemper but in a smaller format. In conclusion, is the TONEX going to change anyone's life? The TONEX pedal? I don't necessarily think so, but I think it's a really important step, having both of these things alive. And I think if you're a fan of Joe Bonamassa, if you're a fan of these double ODS tones, that's basically where I've lived on this pedal to start. cycling through the tone models is going to be much like if you were cycling through models on a Kemper, on a Quad Cortex, other digital units. You know, it's a similar experience. It's not, you know, worlds better. It's not going to blow anything out of the water. But if you're looking for something that could fit on a pedal board, can capture your existing rig for whatever reason, or if you want to try some of these captures that other people have made, hopefully more Joe Bonamassa stuff, then the TONEX pedal is great for that, I think.